Welcome to the Bomba Pod. I'm your host, Martin Bomba, and each week we bring you meaningful conversations with guests who uplift, inspire, and encourage you to become the very best version of yourself. Whether you're chasing a dream, building something new, or just looking for a spark of motivation, you're in the right place. Produced by Dennis Ayotte and proudly supported by Window World and PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. Let's grow together. Let's be inspired. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Martin Bomba. It's the Bomba Pod. It's time for that conversation with a phenomenal guest that's going to hopefully change your day, brighten your life a little bit, give you a smile. And I hope you learned something new today because we have got Bob Pineda from Otto's Cheese Shop. Is that it? Otto's Cheese Shop?
Otto's Cheese Shop. That's
Otto's
right.
Cheese Shop in New Braunfels, Texas. Bob and his lovely wife Rachel run this great business. It's a phenomenal success story, and that's why I wanted to have Bob on today to talk about this and to tell you more about his great business and what they do, and maybe you learn about cheese today. So that's cheese is getting popular, man. It's kind of like the wine movement, Bob.
Yeah.
And by the way, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Martin.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
The cheese movement. I look back. I compare a lot of things today to whenever I was growing up and I was a kid. And there's certain things that you just didn't even think about whenever I was a kid. Things like ranch dressing. It didn't exist.
You didn't have ranch dressing growing up?
I don't remember ranch dressing at all.
So what did you put on your salad?
Thousand Island.
Oh.
Some people use French. Some people used Italian.
Or the Russian dressing.
Or Russian dressing. Yeah. Yes, that's nasty. It's super sweet, and I don't like that. But ranch was not a thing. Never. Okay, sushi.
Sushi wasn't around either, huh?
No, I'm sure sushi was around. It's been around for eons, but in my neck of the woods in Texas, nobody talked about sushi. There was no sushi restaurants. I mean, there was maybe one in San Antonio at the time, right?
Okay.
And cheese is one of those things.
Yeah.
Cheese is what you ordered on your cheeseburger, and maybe on your pepper steak, your cheese pepper steak, or on your enchiladas, but you didn't think about just sitting down and having a plate of cheese.
Yeah.
That's kind of changed.
It has. And I think really, and I'm not the super expert when it comes to like the history of American cheese, like the artisan style, that's out there now. I think it kind of started around the late 70s going into that, 80s. There became like a renaissance sort of movement around the cheese world. We kind of have devolved over the couple last generations when it comes to, where cheese comes from and how it's made and what it's supposed to be like traditionally made. It kind of came back into, a movement here in the past couple decades. And now we're seeing a lot more artisan makers out there in California, New York, Vermont, Wisconsin, of course, and all scattered around around America. But it's always one of our best things about the business is like you've got folks who have just never really had the exposure to cheese, like artisan style cheeses, and then they come into the shop and they try it and their eyes kind of light up and they're like, wow, this is what real cheese is. Where has it been all my life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're just used to what's available to them. And we try and make the shop approachable, and I don't want to be like a snobby cheese guy, right? I just want people to feel comfortable when they come into the shop and just show them kind of like their cheese Sherpa. And I just want to take them to the cheese
Their
land,
cheese
right?
shaman.
Yeah, their cheese shaman. Yeah.
I like that. The thing about cheese now, and I can tell you from my own personal experiences, I've gotten a much higher expectation of what somebody has to offer now when it comes to different cheeses. It's like, you have cheddar, that's it? That's what you got? Cheddar? American's not even real cheese. That's not cheese. So it's nice to have all of these choices now, and it's kind of mind-boggling. But I want to go back. We'll come back to this. Let's go back to the beginning. How long have you and your wife Rachel been married?
Oh, let's see. We were just talking about this the other day. 11 years now.
Okay.
We've been married 11 years.
So when you got together, Were you dating and you had an epiphany and said, when we get married, we're going to do this cheese thing? Is that how that happened? How did it happen?
No, so we had been married, and we both had careers, and really the idea came to us before kids, back when we had a life. We would take a trip out to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and around the holiday time, Christmas going to New Year's, it's just like a magical, enchanting city, right?
One of my favorite places in the world.
It's got it's got the history behind it, the smells, everything about the city kind of was always like a draw to us. And there was a cheese shop there, and we had never been to a cheese shop before, a place where you can go and see cheeses from all over the world. They had cheesemongers behind the counter that you can ask questions to.
What was the name of it? Do you remember?
It was called Cheesemongers.
Cheesemongers.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's still there.
It's not. Yeah,
That's
COVID,
a bummer.
Another COVID story there, but yeah, that whole kind of experience was so unique to us. Same thing, growing up in Texas, cheese was just what you saw at the deli counter. It's yellow, that kind of thing. I knew there were cheeses out there, but I never really studied it. So we go to the cheese shop, we take some home or back to our hotel, and we just start to fall in love with it. And I've always loved history, science, traditional things like that. Dating back, cheese has been with us humans for hundreds, if not thousands of years, right?
I'm wondering where was and I've never asked that. What is the origin of cheese? Does anybody know where it originated or how it originated?
There is a story. There's a couple different stories out there, but the one that sticks with me is that there was a guy riding around on a donkey or a camel or something like that, and had put some milk in, and they used to use animal stomachs as a bag for carrying things, right? And so they think was, this guy was riding around with milk in a stomach of a goat or probably something like that, and it had, unbeknownst to him, the rennet, the enzyme that's inside those stomachs, kind of jostled around in that little stomach pouch that he had, and opened it up, and then he finds that it's all curdled. And so that is kind of the very beginning of the cheese making process. Did I just lose you there, or did I say something weird?
No, sounds delicious. That sounds wonderful.
So that curdling process is how cheeses kind of started.
What I'm wondering is who the first brave guy was that said, "Oh, that looks like something I'd like to eat."
It's the same thing with the guys who were eating. Who was walking around on the beach in Galveston?
Oh, I know.
and saw an oyster and opened that up. It's like, oh, I want to eat that.
I've often wondered that myself.
It's starving.
Do you think that maybe they had a death wish or something and thinking, well, maybe this will kill me? I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's. When you get down to the nitty gritty of how cheese is made, now certainly it's not made in animal stomachs anymore, but the way that cheese is made, there are so many different ways that you can ferment cheese, right? There's so many different ways that you can age it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ahead of myself again. So
Rachel and I went to Santa Fe. We fell in love with this place. We loved the idea of it, and it was always kind of like in the back of our minds that if there's ever a point to where we can start our own business, this is something that might interest us. And New Braunfels has that charm and that history behind it, tied back to Germany, where you've got this, the shops and everything like that.
Yeah.
And we wanted to bring something that was unique and different because, when you're starting a business, there's so much risk involved. And how are you going to put yourself in a position that, outshines from your competitors out there? So we wanted to find a business that was a little bit different and unique, and something that drew people in because of its uniqueness, I guess. I'm kind of losing my words here, but just something different.
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't that what exclusivity or uniqueness is? What every business owner would really love to have. Anything that helps, differentiate you from your competition.
Exactly.
And the first time that I was in your store was in your old location, your original location. And that's on Landis Street in New Braunfels, right across from Das Rec. And it was a little tiny place. And in fact, I was surprised whenever I went in the first time. I think our first interaction was we had a wine dinner at our house, and we wanted some charcuteries for the wine dinner. And Rachel put together these phenomenal charcuteries for us.
She told me, Martin Bomba came in. I'm like, what? I missed him?
And we were right next door to you, too. I mean, our office in New Braunfels was one removed from your old place. And I believe at the time, my son-in-law Travis and my daughter Lindsay had been coming in to see you guys already, and they had told us how good it was, and that's how we found out about you. And I think that in a town like New Braunfels, especially, that's how you grow. That's how you spread the word, is people telling their neighbors,
Oh
people
yeah,
telling their friends, and before long, you got to find a new place
yeah,
because you've outgrown the old one.
exactly. Yeah. The little advertising that we do, we do what we can, but the biggest thing is just trying to be approachable. Listen to customers. Just try and be as serviceable as you can be, so that people want to share it with their friends and family. Hey, I found this really cool place, and word of mouth is the best advertising out there.
Well, as often happens whenever you start a new business, and especially something that you haven't already been involved in,
Hmm.
there are unexpected things that happen.
Yeah,
What was the hardest part of getting a business like this off the ground?
I think a lot of it was time management, because we had our first daughter Isabel, and we had just had our second daughter Claire, and then Claire was about 1 year old when we started the business. And so between juggling my career at the time, Rachel working at the shop, the kids, we had to just figure out what hours are going to work for us in a way that we can still make some money, just to keep the lights on at least, and somehow our lives not fall apart yet either too. So it was just time management. I think was the biggest first hurdle that we kind of approached, and then also just the unknown for a lot of customers that would come in. Is like, how does this work? How do we buy it? That kind of thing. What are these cheeses? And
Yeah,
just
because
trying
it's a
to
unique concept.
exactly. Not a lot of people are familiar with it, so it's kind of like, uh, people are used to going to a grocery store and saying, "Can I get this on slice number, a one?"
Right.
I had to tell people I don't slice cheese here like 1,000 times. Like that's just not how this cheese is set up.
And
So
I'm sure that's still surprising to some
oh
people.
yeah,
What do you mean you don't slice cheese?
I got to cut it myself.
I did what?
God give you hands and knife, you can do it.
It's not that difficult.
No.
I can do it. It's great. So tell me, so set the stage for me. Somebody comes into the shop. It's their first time ever into a cheese shop. Well, what is it like? What do they see? What do they find in there?
You're gonna see, what in my mind, I want our shop to always kind of have that case that has a scene just of different cheeses from all over, kind of facing the customer with their labels all perfectly arranged to where it's a lot of information kind of coming right at you.
You can see what milk it's made from, if it's cow's milk, sheep's milk, what
Yeah,
have you.
exactly. I want the customers to come in and have a kind of like a wow experience. Kind of like when you're walking into here at Window World and you see all the setups and everything's displayed in a way that the customers are like, wow, this place, understands and is trying to make the best possible product here. We're doing the same thing at Otto's Cheese Shop. We want all the cheeses to be clean, presentable, cut perfectly, and arranged to where the customer feels like they're seeing something that's different and unique, and something respectable, I guess. So you're going to see that. You're going to see a wine rack full of wines from all over.
Which is a little different than
Oh,
your
yeah.
original shop,
Yeah.
right?
So kind of going back to that, was the old shop was just cheese, a few pantry items, and a few wines. Had a very small rack at back of the old place, but moving to the new place, everyone's asking for wines to pair along with it, and what goes well with it, and different charcuterie meats to go along with it too. So when you come to the new shop, you're going to see all that, and we're going to have different things available at different times. So
Well, you also have specialty nights sometimes, don't you?
that's right.
Whenever you're doing like a what was the Gouda night that you did, or
We did a Gouda tasting for,
Yeah.
one people love to try different types of Goudas when they would come into our shop. So we had a different spread full of young and aged, and ones with herbs and spices and things like that, all kind of laid out where people can try them.
I think that's one of the great things about a shop like yours is people who think that they know what a particular cheese is find out how many different variations
Yeah.
there can be of that particular cheese.
Yeah.
And I just, to me, it's just amazing the different types and the different areas that they come from. It's kind of mind boggling, actually. It's if you like cheese, and I do. I don't know if I trust people who don't like cheese, but
It's the same thing with wines. So you get to reading about wines, and you've got styles and different varietals that grow all parts of different parts of the world, and they all have stories, and they've got makers that come from all different regions and religions and things like that. It's the same sort of thing with the wine that we're trying to do with the cheese that is done with cheese.
and I think that there are certain things that just kind of go hand in hand. They pair so well together. And for Debbie and I, our ideal night out is going to Otto's, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I love going to Otto's, just having a nice little cheese and meat plate, a nice wine, and then a little piece of chocolate afterwards. And you
Yeah.
got all of those things there.
We try to, yeah, because it's simple. You don't have to cook it. It's been described as like the perfect meal. It's got everything you need in there, and then you have a nice glass of wine, share a bottle, and then finish it off with some chocolate and some sliced meats.
Fantastic.
Like, what else do you need?
Fantastic. And the cool thing about some of the ancillary items that you have, the jams and crackers and things like that, these are not things you're going to find just anywhere.
Well, our major competitors are your major supermarkets, and it's hard to beat those prices. So we have to differentiate ourselves by bringing in stuff from more small batch makers, things that are not available to those major supermarkets, because I just can't compete with those things. But it's also fun. You get to try some new stuff from folks that put a lot of effort and love into their business, and we just get to share it with the customers too.
So tell me a little bit about some of the specialty nights that you have. Tell me some of the favorite specialty nights that you have had.
We've had a couple here that I really look back on and really enjoyed. The first is raclette nights. So raclette is
That's what I was thinking
that's
of.
what you're thinking of, huh?
Yeah.
Raclette is a cheese that it comes from the French and Swiss Alps. It's a cheese that is made out of cow's milk, and they come in a wheel that's about 14 pounds. And how it is traditionally made is and I love like the stories behind it. I love the traditions and all this kind of stuff. So I love sharing that with people. But they used to take this block of cheese and just melt it by a fire. And this cheese was made because, if you can envision, they would make this cheese during the summer so that in the wintertime, when they're snowed in on the mountainsides of Switzerland and the French Alps up there in the high altitude areas, this is what sustained them through those cold winter months. And so all they had was cheese, root vegetables like potatoes, and pickled goods like pickles and onions and things like that. And they would let it melt, and then they'd scrape it onto that. And so it became sort of like a tradition, something that you would, kind of like the cousin to fondue. You bring all your friends and family around,
Yeah.
and you just enjoy the slow life, drink some wine with it, and enjoy the simple fact that you're there with your friends and family and enjoying some good food.
Watching you shave it though
Yeah.
is unique. If you've never seen that before, it's really pretty cool.
It's a good Instagram worthy picture. A lot of people would come in when we're doing it, and we've got it on this burner. You scrape it over everything. They're always taking their phone out and like, oh, wow. Like, yeah.
Well, the only other time I've ever seen that was in Montreux, Switzerland.
Yeah.
That was the first time I had ever seen it. And then whenever I came in and you guys were doing it that day, I'm like, wow, this is cool.
I think it's fun to bring something that is known for, that exclusive, thing that you can only go experience, at overseas or in Switzerland or something like that. Right here in New Braunfels, we can enjoy the same sort of thing. But what's really fun about that cheese that we were featuring there that night was that it was not actually a cheese from the Swiss Alps or the French Alps. It's actually made in Vermont. And so it is kind of another educational point where you have styles that the artisan movement here in America is kind of replicating, taking the traditional cheeses, but then kind of giving an American twist too. So this one that we'll have at the shop is actually made in Vermont, and it's an award-winning cheese that won gold back at the World Cheese Competition a couple years ago. So it's just another way of showing like here is what's happening behind the cheese movement around the world and in America too.
Let's take a quick break,
Okay.
and when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the cheese movement in America and in particular in Texas. And we're gonna take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Bob Pineda from Otto's Cheese Shop.
This is the future team.
Oh yeah, Window World, we've been family owned and operated for 4 generations.
We can't wait to see what these little guys do when they take over. Okay, maybe we can wait. I think that's best for everyone. Want service that's honest? Window World. Service for generations.
These windows are seriously the easiest windows to clean on the market. Just a little bit of this glass cleaner, put it on there.
Window World has been family owned for generations, which means chores aren't just chores, they're part of professional development.
You got this, Layla. It's wax on, wax off.
Needless to say, things are a work in progress. For squeaky clean service you can trust, call Window World. Service for generations. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with Bob Pineda with Otto's Cheese Shop in New Braunfels, Texas, and learning a lot about cheese that I had no idea about today, and I hope you are too. Bob, thanks again for being here. And thanks for sharing your story with us. I wish
Absolutely.
Rachel could have been here, but you said she's like my wife. She's like, no, that's your thing. I don't want to be on camera. You go do that.
She wanted to, and yeah, if you want to see her, see her at the cheese shop too.
I do. That's where I get to see her all the time. So let's talk about a little bit about the Texas cheese scene and how that has developed and grown over the years since you started. And what year did you start Otto's?
We started May 2021.
Okay. So you're 5 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, almost
It'll be,
exactly.
5 years in May, yeah.
That's awesome. So how have you seen the cheese scene in Texas grow and evolve in that 5 years?
Here in the last 5 years, there's a handful, 5 to 6 makers that have started here in this last 5 years or so. So it has grown, I think, from a demand of people who are looking for more artisan, locally made products that we're seeing. So whether that be wine or meats, cheese is tied into it naturally. And Texas is a large producer of dairy milk, especially in the northern part of Texas where they actually get rain up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we produce a lot of milk for the mass commodity market. So you're going to get like what you see at the supermarket. But I think people are realizing that you can do other things with it, and you can make a business out of it, and you can get a higher return on your and on your margins there.
That's one thing that
yeah.
I've noticed about cheese is the price fluctuation. You can go from it's kind of like wine.
Yeah.
It's very much like wine, I think, in that respect, in that depending on what your taste is and your level of expertise when it comes to tasting cheeses, you can spend as little or as much as you want to on cheese.
Oh yeah, you can. I love finding the approachable, not too expensive ones, but then I like to splurge every now and then on that fancy one out there too.
Yeah, and I've seen that. I've come in, I've looked at the displays and everything from I don't know what the starting price is per pound now, but it's not expensive.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of the Texas makers that we've seen here locally, I guess I'm kind of lost my train of thought there, but we noticed a few of them get started up here in the last couple of years, and the Texas cheeses, they do tend to be on the higher price point just because of the scale is not there like they do in
Texas
Wisconsin.
wines, same.
Yeah, same thing. They're just not able to produce at scale where they can bring that price down just yet. But that doesn't mean you can't get a smaller bit of it and just try it. If you see them at the farmer's market, always help them out by trying to grab some and just seeing. Because part of what I like to express is that in other parts of the world, cheeses are not supposed to be shipped in the container ship and like frozen and sent over by boat to end up in a supermarket. They're intended to be eaten as locally as possible. So if you have a maker that's one town over that's making some cheese, that's fresher, and it's just got so much more tie into the earth that just makes that product that much more special, and which is why you helps justify some of the cost maybe too.
Kind of like it's another thing that comes to mind whenever you talk about something like that is honey. The more local, the better when it comes to honey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get local honey, not only is it tastes great, but it also is better for you and all of those things. Are there a lot of cheese producers in Central and South Texas?
There's going to be more kind of located in the hill country part of Texas, and then you're going to have a few up in the grassy area part of Texas around like Stephenville, Dublin area. That's where they've got a lot more of the grasslands. So you're going to get a little bit higher concentration of dairy cows in that part too. But part of the trail and part of the journey of the Texas Cheese Trail that Rachel and I worked on was just exploring all those and just getting to visit with the makers and hearing their stories, because they've got some amazing backgrounds. They all come from different parts of the world and have different backgrounds, and we just loved hearing their stories, and they put a lot of hard work into it, and we just want to help share that story of their journey.
And you put together a book about that,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Book and a film, yeah.
And a film.
That's right.
Well, tell me about that.
We can start kind of with the project. We had this idea that we were selling some Texas cheese at the shop, and a lot of people had just not been aware of that we have these producers in our own backyard. They wanted to know more about it, and so we had this idea that, well, why don't we figure out a way of just kind of interviewing them all and putting it all together in a format that can share you could share their stories all together. So we partnered up with Texas Monthly Studios back in like the spring of 24, and we got to travel all the way from Dallas all the way to Sandia, Texas, and got to meet these makers with their families. Some of them even invited us into their homes, and got to see the whole process of milking the animal, all the care and love that goes into those animals, into the finished product of creating the cheese. It was an eye-opening and amazing experience that I'm so thankful for that Rich and I got to do. And we're excited to share that story with our customers and fans out there too.
Where can you see the film?
The film right now is actually, it's been under wraps because I was submitting it to film festivals. And so this is a part of the world. I mean, I'm not a film person. I don't know how these things are made. I just know that you can watch them on TV, right? And so we kind of had to dive into this world of how do you get a movie out there? So it's another animal that we're trying to figure out. So we finished it up.
Because running a small business isn't enough.
Oh, dude, like and raising kids and everything. Like,
you sound like me, man.
Oh, it's nuts. I don't even know where I come. Sometimes my brain is going all sorts of different places, and it's running 20 miles an hour, or 100 miles an hour all the time. But I guess back on the film project. But so we wrapped it up, and I submitted it to film festivals like South by Southwest, one in San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas area, and just got rejections. Right, so I knew it was going to happen, but I'm like, okay, I have to just keep trying. And then literally like a month ago, I got an email from the Houston World Fest Film Festival that it's been accepted and will be premiering during their festival at the end of April. And it's been nominated for a Remy Award. So I'm like, okay.
Wow.
That sounds awesome. Now what? So Rich and I have to go down to Houston, and we're going to be at a premiere of our film where you're going to hear all their stories on the big screen.
And that's the end of this month.
April 26th, it's going to be premiering.
Wow.
In Houston, it's called Cinemark Memorial Theater, right off of I-10, kind of the Memorial Hospital area.
Yeah, I know it's that.
And then later on, they're going to have a award ceremony, and
That's exciting.
Very surreal sort of event that's about to happen in my life.
So you're going to get to walk a red carpet.
Dude, I was reading the email, and they said I have to have like formal attire. I don't have a tuxedo. I gotta go find one. I gotta go rent one. Like
there's rental places. You can find one.
Prom all over again.
Except you can wear that pink ruffle one that you wanted to wear back at prom.
Yeah, I was thinking of finding like a cheese bow tie or something, just to make
that'd
it
be fun.
It'll stand out a little bit.
That'd be kind of fun, like a couple of pieces of Swiss.
Yeah. So after that, I don't know what the next step is. Hopefully the whole idea behind a film festival is that you make connections with people that are in the industry and go from there somehow.
Yeah.
I'm literally I'm figuring this out, doing this one step at a time.
Do you aspire to do follow-ups to that?
Yeah. So after this, now I can premiere it anywhere because it has to be kind of kept under wraps. It can't premiere anywhere else. Otherwise you just basically lose qualification for those film festivals. So after this, I can, one of the ideas is that we do it at the Brauntex in New Braunfels. I'd love to premiere it at a local thing.
Man, that would be awesome.
And then take it all over the state.
We're big sponsors at the Brauntex.
Yeah.
That would be so good.
It would be fun. You tie it into the town. And then my ultimate, one idea was that we would take it to where we can do like a dinner and a movie kind of tasting experience. So instead of just watching a film, you get to try the cheeses too at the same time
As it goes on.
it goes along.
Yeah.
That's an idea. I'm always thinking of something, but it's an idea that I think would be fun to hit all the major metropolitan areas and the smaller theaters around Texas, just so people can be proud of the things that are made in our own backyard.
I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Such a great idea. So when you and Rachel were traveling around to all these different
Creameries. I guess you call them
creameries, I
yeah.
guess a creamery. How many did you hit in the state on this journey?
11
Okay.
different makers, and some are farm-said creameries, so you're going to have like animals on them, and then some just produce the cheeses. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the most interesting cheese that you tasted along the way?
It's hard to tell. I mean, they all have different styles, and I don't want to play favoritism to any of them out there, but I loved them all. I loved all the stories behind them, behind all the makers and everything that they were doing. But every now and then, I always reach for Veldhuizen just because he's got some pretty cool cheeses out there. And
where are they located?
They're in Dublin, Texas.
They're one of the Dublins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one in Pure Luck, Farm and Dairy in Dripping Springs makes some amazing, fresher Chev goat cheeses with some pretty they've got award-winning cheeses too. So we can talk about the American Cheese Society.
Yeah.
And all that too. Yeah.
Let's shift into that and talk a little bit about the American Cheese Society. I know that Rachel is a member of that. What is the purpose and the function of the American Cheese Society, and what does it do?
So the American Cheese Society is a program that is there to support and highlight and create a following around American cheeses and the cheesemakers that are here in America, Canada, and Mexico. So that all kind of falls into the American Cheese Society area. And I'm not the best. Rachel's kind of the expert when it comes to that, but I know they do have a conference each year where all these makers from all over the Americas come, and you get to try at these sampling events where you get to try cheeses from all over. You get to hear about products that are new. You get to collaborate with other makers and learn, and it's just a way of fostering education and promoting American cheeses. Similar to how the European model does and promotes their products, America promotes their own products internally here with the American Cheese Society.
And I'm sure that they have festivals and functions all over.
Yeah. Each year they go to a different city. I think this year it's in Tennessee. I can't remember exactly now, but I went to the one in Buffalo. Rachel's been to Portland and Des Moines, Iowa. And you make connections and she's made some amazing connections out there at this festival. And they're lifelong connections that you get to learn from and be a part of this little movement that's going on.
And do you buy directly from these different farmers and these different dairies?
You can. So in the world of supplying cheeses, you can either buy directly from those producers, or if they're on a distribution level, you buy it through a distributor.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the most common misconception that people have about buying or tasting cheese?
I think when they see that it's not yellow, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah. We have this idea that cheese has to be yellow, and
My favorite cheeses are not.
yeah. The mass folks out there have just not been exposed to cheeses that are in different shapes. They like to just see rectangular yellow cheese. And that stuff is great. That's great for putting on a hamburger. It melts amazingly. There's a place in the world for it. But it's actually colored to make it that yellow. And you can go into this whole rabbit hole of why they do it, behind the marketing of it, and because they think they'll be able to sell more if it's yellow, because
that's what people want.
That's what people think, right?
Yeah.
That's just a product that has kind of happened with the last couple of generations, where we've moved away from what real cheeses are to a mass commodity produced, lowest price available cheese to get out there.
And I'm sure ingredients have changed for not the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's the other thing that I think that would be an advantage to the smaller farm, the smaller produced cheeses, is less of the bad stuff that you don't want in your cheese.
Yeah, I mean, we literally got to see what goes into making these things, and it's very simple ingredients. You've got milk, salt, maybe a few flavorings like herbs and spices and things like that, and thyme, and you've got time and temperature, and that's what makes a cheese. It's just keeping it simple to its true ingredients, and it ends up having the most flavor, and it's better for you instead of everything that's processed, and you put that into your body. Who knows what's going to happen to you down the road?
Well, you can see that we have some cheese here.
Yeah.
And
I didn't come empty-handed. I brought you some.
Man, I tell you what, my favorite guests are the ones that come bearing gifts. That's awesome, and especially edible gifts. We're going to be trying some of that here after the next break, and let's just get a little preview of what that is. What is that?
So this is actually a Texas product here. This comes from a maker also in the Dublin area. It's from a maker called Armagh Creamery, and Katie and Ryan McDowell own this company, and this is a unique cheese because it is brie style. So when people think of brie, they think of France, right? They think of those gooey, white, pillowy, molded cheeses that have you see at the grocery store.
Right.
This is actually something that's made here in Texas, which I find is unique, and the story is special. So I wanted to bring it here and share it with you.
All right, and we're going to do that when we come back here in just a moment. We're going to hear a word from our great sponsors that help make this show possible. And again, we're here with our guest, Bob Pineda with Otto's Cheese Shop. We're going to talk some more cheese when we come back. Thank you so much to our sponsor, PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. If you want to try the very best small batch roasted coffee that you're going to find anywhere, look no further than PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. 2 great locations to serve you in the San Antonio area at Camp Bullis and I-10 and at 281 and Bulverde Road. You're going to find all your favorites at both locations, from wonderful espressos, macchiatos, you name it, they've got it, as well as some delicious energy drinks, as well as our signature granita. And beignets, yeah, you bet we have them, and they are phenomenal. Be sure to stop by the PJ's closest to you and try any of our wonderful coffees, teas, and pastries. Thanks again to PJ's Coffee of New Orleans for sponsoring the Bomba Pod. Hey, everybody, we're back. It is the Bomba Pod, and today's guest is Bob Pineda with Otto's Cheese Shop. And we are talking, I had no idea how nuanced and how many things there were to learn about cheese until today's conversation. And I've been in Bob's shop many times and learning so much. And Bob, you were gracious enough to bring in some cheese today to try.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And so does Dennis. He loves the free food. It's awesome. He gets to eat today. It's fantastic. What do we have here? Tell everybody what this is.
Okay, so this is a pretty cool product. It comes from a creamery in the Dublin area, Texas. This is a cow's milk brie-style cheese made in our own backyard. So I was really excited to bring something like this and showcase a cheese that we think of as being made in France, in that part of the world. No, we can get it in our own backyard, and there's nothing better than a local product where you get a sense of taste of where the animal actually is, and eating the grass from Texas and transforming that into milk.
And you can actually taste that in the cheese?
You can, yeah. You just get a little bit more of a flavor to it. And sometimes, depending on the year, if it was a grassy year or if it was a rainy year, if it was a drier year, then you get a little bit more flavors depending on it. I think that story is unique and exciting to tell about cheeses too. It doesn't always have to be tasting the same.
So what denotes, before we get into tasting this, and I do want to get into tasting that, what denotes or what distinguishes one cheese from another as far as this is a brie or that is a Gouda or that is what distinguishes them?
It depends on many different things. So maybe you should take the American Cheese Society test like Rachel has and become a certified cheese professional. You'll learn all about that.
I might do that.
Yeah.
I might do that.
So, but
I want to know, I do want to try this, but tell everybody what the composition of this cheese, what is, people ask me all the time, can I eat that?
Yeah.
Can I eat that? And when they're talking about the rind of the cheese, tell us about that.
So you've got different styles of cheeses out there, depending on who you kind of follow. Some different authors have like 5 different styles or 7 different styles, but I've kind of like said, like, there's these different styles of cheeses depending on the format, the shape, where it comes from, and how it's aged and things like that. This is a brie style cheese or a bloomy rind style cheese. And what bloomy rind means is that there's actually going to be a mold growth on the outside of the cheese.
So we are looking at mold.
You are looking at a mold that is there. It's fermented. It's a fermented product, just like wines are. We use the fermentation process to help preserve foods, and that is one way of preserving the food is to have this mold grow on the outside. It helps protect the cheese on the inside, and it adds a little bit of flavor to it. It adds like a mushroomy sort of savory flavor on the outside.
Can you eat that?
You can absolutely eat it. It's edible. Anything on the cheese is technically edible. Now, I like to tell people you probably don't want to eat wax or cloth or anything like that.
No.
It's probably not the best, but it technically, if it's on the cheese, you can eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's some things that I'd steer clear of.
Yeah. And brie typically is going to be a creamier cheese, right?
Yeah,
A soft cheese.
So you're going to have that rind on the outside that is as a mold growth, and then on the inside you're going to have the creamier, softer paste on the inside. Yeah, and depending on the age, you can get one that's going to be, if it's young, it's going to be more chalky and firmer on the inside, and as it ages, you'll start to see it kind of mature around the rind and start to get a little bit more runny. And then at that point, depending on your preference, you want to probably eat it before it gets too runny, and then it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's not appealing to me. I like a firmer cheese typically, although I do like brie. But a firmer cheese to me is more appealing, and with the exception of brie, because with brie it's almost. And we were talking about this. You do a brie brulee at Otto's. Tell me about the brie brulee as I'm trying this.
Yeah, so one of our dish menu options that we have at our shop called the brie brulee is we'll actually take the top layer of the cheese and we'll take that part off, and it exposes the paste on the inside. And then what we'll do is we'll cover that with turbinado sugar and then brulee it with a brulee gun. I get to play with fire, so it's fun. And we basically caramelize the top layer, and it kind of gives it this nice dessert sort of sweet dessert feel. And then we have it paired up with some crackers that are going to be more like a dessert style biscuit, and then some fruit, and it makes it kind of a fun, like after dinner kind of dessert snack instead of going with the traditional like ice cream or brownie.
Yeah, and I often think of brie as that because so often it's served baked or warm, and usually it has honey and nuts and things of that nature with it, so it gives it that kind of desserty feel to it. That's delicious.
I'm glad you like it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so they're a Texas maker called Arma Creamery, and they make this cheese, and they also make a yogurt that you can find. I haven't seen them in our local HEBs, but you can see them at HEBs too. It's called Arma Creamery, and they make some cool stuff.
So at any given time at Otto's Cheese Shop, how many different varieties of cheese would you say you have in your case?
It depends on what time of the year. So if it's like the holiday time, which is that's when everyone's having parties and get-togethers, you're going to see a lot more than at that time of the year. Usually 100, 150 plus styles of cheeses that we have at the case that people can sample from and try and enjoy.
I know I asked you earlier about what your favorite cheese was on the cheese trail. Wash that down a little bit. That was really good. Should have brought napkins. What was there ever a cheese that you tried and you just immediately just wanted to get it out of your mouth?
Yeah. When we first opened up, Rachel and I were getting cheeses brought into the shop, and we're tasting them so we can tell customers what they're like, and we're doing our research, and we're trying to figure out here's the different styles out there that we feel like a cheese shop should offer. And there's this one from France, and I don't know if we got a bad batch or what, but it's called it's called Saint Maur, and it has this cool story behind it. It's a goat cheese that they put a reed into it, like a dried reed, and then they kind of form it and age it a little bit. It gets this kind of bloomy rind on the outside, and I'm like, that sounds fun. Let's try that. And I ate it, and I was like, I can't do this. I need to get this out of me.
Just too funky,
It was just way too crazy. I don't know if I got a expired one or what. I never want to touch that cheese again. if I go to France and I get to go try it fresher, I'll try it then, but I won't be ordering that one again.
I've had some cheeses like that.
Yeah.
And the ones that I really, my favorite cheese in the world is the crystal type cheese that you find in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that cheese. And
Those are some of my favorites too. I love the science behind aging cheeses. So you've got something that starts off very fresh. It's going to have more like a milky, creamy taste to it and texture to it. And just by the process of putting them into rooms where they control the temperature and the humidity, and then they've got these guys, they are called an affineur. Affineur is the process of aging cheeses. They'll monitor it throughout its life. And once you get to around the 2 to 3 year age of Goudas and cheddars and things like that, you're going to start to get those crystals develop in them. And those are some of my favorites. They have a different taste now. They're going to have more butterscotch, caramel sorts of notes to it.
Nice
more
and salty.
complexity to it. Yeah, nice and salty. And those are fun to snack on.
yeah, they are. I mean, that's just a great cheese to just little cubes of it is fantastic. So tell me about working with your wife. I've worked with my wife for almost 30 years, so I know what it's like. I know what it takes, and it works great for us. But it don't work great for everybody. Clearly, it works for you. What makes it work?
It works. Sometimes it works less well than others. And I probably am the fault of that because I've got my things I have to work on, right? But Rachel and I have a good balance where she's got a good mind for because she is a certified cheese professional. She's tied into a lot of those different makers out there, and always doing the research on bringing in fun items with our suppliers. I feel like that's where she excels and does really great. And then I'm kind of like the wild card out there. I'm always trying to bring in new ideas and see what works and what doesn't work. And then I also like building the business and the operational side of things and trying to figure out ways of making it more efficient, and also helping our employees, put them in a position to where they can grow. And I love that part of it too. And so between Rachel's, her abilities and her knowledge around cheeses and excitement of bringing in fun stuff, and then whatever I've got, just sometimes it works. And then we also try and keep it separate at home. So I do a bad time of this. I struggle with this, trying to turn it off, right? Because I'm always thinking of ideas. Sometimes she doesn't want to talk about work at home, and she tells me to hush up and just watch TV or something.
I've always heard, keep your work at work and keep your home life at home. We've never been able to quite do that.
Yeah,
and it's worked for us.
Yeah.
It's worked for us. She has stuff she has to do at home, and we both have our unique and distinct roles in our business too. So I understand that, and I think that that's probably why it works for you guys, because you both understand your role in the business and you both do it well. And I think that that's important. But also, one of the reasons I think that it's great working with your spouse is you understand each other's challenges. And you understand the challenges of the business. You're not coming home and unloading on somebody, and they have no idea what you're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely days where we've struggled, but then being able to, brainstorm and come up with solutions is fun too. And being able to tackle those problems together helps us grow, and it does feel like we accomplished something together, which is always a benefit.
Was there ever a time in the trajectory of Otto's Cheese Shop, was there ever a time that you and Rachel looked at each other and said, maybe we should be doing something else?
Yeah,
Has that ever happened?
It happens every day. I took a pay cut when I quit my career and went full steam into working at the cheese shop. For the first couple of years, I was floating all the bills and everything like that with my career, and then working there and then working back at the cheese shop on my off time. But that stability of having a steady paycheck, and it allowed us to take that risk with the shop. If I wasn't doing that, I don't think we probably could have started. But now, we're in this position to where it's all cheese shop income now, and we have to make cuts to make it work and make sure our employees are paid, because that's a responsibility that we have on ourselves as business owners. And we just try and do what we can to make sure that the lights are on and kids are fed at the house. And once we get to a point, we'll readjust if we need to. But right now, we're in a position to where it's working for us, and but we definitely want more. We want to grow, and that's what
you see yourself in an even bigger space at some point.
Maybe. The idea of I don't know if we would do a second cheese shop. I've heard horror stories from other cheese shop owners out there. When you've got two cheese shops, it kind of
it's not unique to cheese shops.
Yeah.
When you open up a second location, there can be challenges that you don't foresee.
And so I'm not gonna try and go down that. We might expand at some point if we can, but right now we're just going to stick where we are because I think it works for the business model.
Well, whenever somebody comes into Otto's, I can tell you from as a patron, as a consumer that loves your place, it's always inviting. You're always your employees are always have a smile. They look like they're happy to be there and they're happy to serve.
They're working with cheese. It's pretty happy place.
Yeah,
there's worse jobs out there, I think.
I think probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can attest. I've had some of them in my younger years. So. And I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you've probably already answered this kind of in a roundabout way. But who is your favorite Texas cheesemaker?
Let's see. I think one cheesemaker that kind of resonates the most with me. I think Stuart Veldhuizen. He's got this background, and then he turned it into a business. He's got his family working with him. I see a lot of myself kind of whenever I talk with him, and I take some of the things that he's kind of done, and I want to try and emulate my own way, how to run a business and things like that. So I think he's probably one of my favorite cheesemakers just to talk to and to interact with. But I love them all.
Yes, it's
all
like your
amazing
children.
people. Yeah,
You love them each for different reasons.
exactly. But Stewart's up there because he's been around the longest, and so I have a lot to learn from where he came from.
What is the most interesting pairing that you've ever had with a cheese that you didn't think that would be good together, but you discovered it was?
There was this pairing that was put on by this guy is a personality. His name is Adam Muskowitz. He is he's in the cheese world up in New York, and so you think of this energetic, quick talking New Yorker up there, right? And he is very quick and loud, everything you expect from that part of the country. But he did a cheese pairing where he had different cheeses laid out, and then he had some pairings that I've never tried before or never even thought of I would ever try in my life. But he actually had these pairings that were created by women in Afghanistan, and they had these figs that have like this sweet sort of pop rock sort of taste to them. And we tried them paired up with that OG Crystal that you liked.
Yeah.
And somehow the combination of those two things together was just like mind opening. And part of the thing that Adam does is it doesn't always have to be like, this and that. It can try something new and have fun with an experiment.
Well, that's the way
the best way to learn.
That's
too.
where the great stuff gets found.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't try those things, you never know what's truly great together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One cheese, if you could only eat one cheese for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Probably Prairie Breeze.
Prairie Breeze.
Prairie Breeze.
Why?
Breeze, yeah.
Prairie Breeze.
Yeah.
Not Brie, Breeze.
Breeze, yeah. It's been described as the perfect cheese, and I agree. It's just easy to eat white cheddar from Milton, Iowa, and it's got the crystals in there. It's like the perfect snacking cheese, yeah.
I think I've had that.
Yeah.
And
I saw a lot of it.
And I love it. If it's what I'm thinking, you're
Yeah.
right. White cheddar, and especially the crystallized white cheddar, is so good. Tell everybody where they can find your book, number
Okay.
one, and it's called The Texas Cheese Trail.
Yep.
Where can they find that?
You can come into our shop. We can order it through our website. There was a few bookstores around. I know one at the Twig in San Antonio, also at the Pullman Market. You can see them over there. Right now, just focusing on just online sales, really, and then kind of go from there.
And what is your website?
ottoscheeseshop.com.
And if somebody wants to go by and see Otto's Cheese Shop and experience it for themselves, where are you located?
2345 Loop 337, Suite 100 in New Braunfels, Texas. We're right next to Nerd Pizza Pub. Free parking.
Yep.
You don't have to worry
You
about
don't have
any
to
of
pay. You don't have to pay to park at Otto's.
Yeah, free parking. I'll even open up the door for you. You can come into my shop.
Anybody who's not from New Braunfels doesn't understand that reference, but that's a big contention right now
Yeah.
in our city. Bob, I can't thank you enough for being here today, man. It's been a pleasure. As much fun as I thought it would be.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. I
And
appreciate it.
tell Rachel hello and that we're sorry that she couldn't be here. But I'll be getting over to. You're not open on Mondays, are you? Oh
I'm
yeah. When are you open? Tell everybody when
Oh
you're
yeah,
open.
so we're open every day, but Monday and Tuesday we're open only from 10 to 2. Wednesdays from 10 to 6. Thursday, Friday, Saturday 10 to 8. Sunday 12 to 5.
There you go. Otto's Cheese Shop. Bob Pineda from Otto's Cheese Shop. Thank you guys so much for watching today. We'll see you next time on the Bomba Pod.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Bomba Pod. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, post it, and help us spread the inspiration. Special thanks to our producer, Dennis Ayotte, and to our sponsors, Window World and PJ's Coffee of New Orleans, for helping make these conversations possible. I'm Martin Bomba, and remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your impact starts now. Until next time, go out and spread some kindness, make the world a better place. The views expressed on this show by the guest or the host may not reflect those of our sponsors.